All right, today we're going to be taking a look at a really cool sort of accessory for your watch collection from a company called Mirage. This is a watch roll that holds 3 watches, and based on the looks and the design of this watch roll, it looks very similar to another one that retails for around $450. This one you can pick up for $50. So yeah, we're going to take a look and see what the difference is between this one and the more luxury ones. But I think you can make a really strong case that this is probably the best looking, best designed watch roll that I've seen for $50 or less. I do want to note that this case was provided for free by the company for review. I do get to keep it after the review is done, so please keep that in mind as you listen to the review. All right, so what we're looking at here today is a watch travel case that holds 3 watches. And I gotta say right off the bat, the case looks absolutely beautiful. And if you guys are aware of the Everest watch rolls, this is very much modeled after those. It's a very similar design. Maybe you might call it an homage of sorts. But you know, the Everest ones, they retail for about $400 or more. This one retails for about $50. So it's close to 10 times less than the Everest one. But the design and the features are fairly similar. Obviously, where the difference is going to become, the greatest difference is the materials that are used in this. And then also, I think the construction as well is not going to be nearly as high quality as you would get with a $450 watch roll. Still, I think you're getting a pretty good value with this one. Now, one thing I want to address before we go into this, and this is maybe the main negative that I had with this watch, is just the way that they are marketing it. It can be, I think, a little bit misleading when they're talking about the materials. And I did reach out to Ralph, the owner of the company, to ask specifically about this and get some clarification. He was kind enough to, very clearly tell me what this is made out of. So here's what they say on their website and their marketing materials. They say this is a naturally tanned espresso premium grade PU leather that is as smooth as full grain leather. Now, there's some truth in that, but okay, so really what this is, first off, this is PU leather, which stands for polyurethane. So what this is a low quality split leather that has been coated with polyurethane to give it a finish to make it look like high-end leather. So when it's talking about naturally tanned espresso, what it means is that it looks like naturally tanned espresso leather. It is not by any sense of the means equivalent to full grain leather. This is an artificial leather coating. This finish is completely artificial. There is a leather backing, which is a lower quality leather, but I don't have any problem with the material itself. It's just I don't want there to be any confusion, anyone thinking that this is somehow comparable to full grain leather when it is not. Polyurethane leather, the main benefit is that it looks very nice and it's very inexpensive. Some other benefits, in some ways it's easier to care for than regular leather because it's basically waterproof. The finish, you don't have to worry about it getting wet because it is an artificial finish on this. The downsides are longevity. It is only going to look worse from here. So as it gets scratches and wear, it will eventually start to crack and break down, and that's just the nature of this material. And again, that's kind of what you're getting at this price range. It looks fantastic right now, but it eventually, as time goes by, it's going to look less fantastic. Whereas full grain leather is kind of the opposite. Full grain leather will patina and improve over time. So I want to get that out of the way. That was maybe the main drawback I had with this. But the rest of the case, like the actual product itself, I think is actually pretty great, and I think it's a pretty good value. Again, it looks fantastic and it's extremely well designed. Because again, the design is largely modeled after a much more expensive premium watch roll. The Everest version of this, the full grain leather version of this, made by a different company. It's the kind of luxury product that you would be keeping your Rolexes and your luxury watches in. This is giving you, again, basically the same design as that, again, just with lower quality, materials and construction. So talking about the design, you get 4 snaps on here, which secures it pretty well. It's fairly rigid. You can feel a little bit of give when you start to handle it, but it definitely feels like it will be protecting your watches pretty well in there. And it has a flat bottom, so it doesn't roll, which is great, and I think that's a nice feature as well. When you open it up, you can see that you can store 3 watches in here. There is separation in between each 3, which will give it a good deal of protection. And then it has these custom pillows that are actually really cool. They have a kind of a sliding rail system, so if you look down in there, you can pull them out. And they're a very nice, soft pillow. It secures the watch really well. And then you've got these 2 rails on either side so that it can slide in and out. And you can take all 3 pillows out of the case. Now, kind of featured here are 3 watches that I haven't reviewed yet, that I'm going to be reviewing eventually when I get around to it, but you get a quick sneak preview of some of the stuff that's coming up. Now, one of the things I really like about this is just the versatility that you have here. So you can use this as a travel case. You can put your watches in it. It will definitely protect them very well. Take this and then toss it into a bag or a suitcase, and then you can bang it around or drop it or whatever, and the watches are going to be pretty well protected. But because of the design and the style of it and the looks, it's the kind of thing that you could leave it sitting on a desk and it still looks really beautiful. It can kind of function as just a regular watch case. So if you have like a 3 watch collection or 3 main watches that you use all the time and you want to have this sitting out somewhere, it's going to look great. It's going to give you, easy access to get to your watches. It will keep them protected. So really great, versatile product. And there's not a lot of competition at this $50 price range. I've seen some cheaper watch rolls that you can get, on Amazon for around $20. They look to be made of a lower quality material, and the design is far less refined than this one. It's the kind of thing that rolls around. You're not necessarily getting as much separation inside between the watches. So I think this is definitely worth it at the $50 price point. Now, I've had this for a couple of weeks, and I've tried to be as rough with this as I can to try and get an idea of how it's going to wear. It seems to be holding up pretty well. The construction seems pretty good. You're getting some nice stitching around here to hold the PU leather and the backing material together. But other than that, it looks like a lot of this is glued together. So the seams here appear to be more of a glued construction there. So you might eventually start to get some breakdown and separation. And then I've noticed one thing is on this rail here, you can see the material there is kind of starting to peel away a little bit, and then as you're sliding things in and out, that's gonna kind of probably make it worse. That might become more of a problem later, but so far it's hanging in there pretty well. But overall, I would say that the construction and the durability seems about what I would expect for the $50 price point. Now you notice with the construction here that it is designed in such a way so that when you close this, there's a little bit of a gap between the actual watches and the cover, so it's not rubbing up against the inside. There is space in there. But what you want to make sure of is that you don't put it in backwards. So the pillows, they are, they do have a front and a back. So you can see the seam on the back. So if you accidentally put the watch on like this, then when you put it into the case, then you might have it touching the front of the cover. So you just want to make sure you avoid that and put them on the correct way. You can see if you put it in backwards, now this one is standing up much taller than the other ones. And you're not going to get as much protection there. So that's just one thing to note if you get your hands on this one. So if you're looking for a beautiful, styled, very well-designed watch case to hold, 3 of your favorite watches, and particularly if you like to travel or want to have something that you can kind of grab and go like this, I think this is a great option for you. Again, I think that this kind of fits in a unique price tier. It definitely appears to be a pretty huge step up over some of the watch rolls that you're going to find in the cheaper range. While at the same time being far less costly than something like a luxury full grain leather product like some of the other ones you might have seen online from Everest or some of the other companies out there. One last thing to note about this travel case is that it does accommodate large watches. I've gone ahead and put in 3 of the largest watches that I have on hand, and all of them fit in pretty well. We have this Lit Labs, which is 45 millimeters wide and 14 millimeters tall, and at 14 millimeters tall, it just barely fits in there without really touching the top of the case, but the inside of the case is really soft too, so it's not really a big deal if the inside of the case does touch the watches. It's designed to accommodate that anyways. Also fairly tall and big is the Bulova Moon watch, no problems fitting in there. And then we have the SWC Diver, 44 millimeters in diameter. So again, these are 3 big watches. They fit no problem. There's tons of space in between, and these little dividers in between each section really protect them from banging into each other as well. So again, the design of here is really well done. And even if you do have large watches, it should work just fine. So if you're interested in getting one of these, they are back in stock on Amazon. They sold out a little while ago, so they're fairly popular, a lot of great reviews. I'll drop a link down below, but thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.